The way that Breath of My Heart got started with the young parent support groups is because when I started working here, I had my first baby recently, and a lot of my other friends were having babies around the same time as I was, and all of us just needed a place to go and find support around our pregnancies and around our personal lives, and it didn't matter where any of us were giving birth, whether it was the hospital or at home or in a birth center. We had all these questions around the pregnancy itself and just found the need for support from other people who are like around our age, our generation, like having babies also, and having similar experiences to share. I was 17 years old when I found out I was pregnant, and by the time she was born, I was 18. And then when I had my second baby, I was 19, going on 20.
With my first pregnancy, I was getting care at Breath of My Heart birthplace from when I was about 3 months pregnant because Deandra told me about the care that she was getting there with the midwives, and I was really interested in also going there. And I planned to have a birth center birth. And I started my care there in February, and I was due in July. So when July came around, I was just really excited for my baby's arrival. And I remember my mom being really nervous because she thought that I couldn't handle the pain, or she was just really nervous about like how it was gonna go. And then the day came, and we showed up to Breath of My Heart around 6 in the morning, and I was like super sick, but the midwives were really, really good. My doula showed up. All of them were really supportive. And I ended up giving birth around 9 p.m. So I was there all day. And the care that I got was amazing. I couldn't imagine getting care anywhere else, honestly.
After my birth with my first daughter, I felt very empowered. I felt happy and excited, and I was just looking forward to like just raising a baby and being a parent. And then when she was 9 months old, is when I found out that I was pregnant with my second daughter. My second pregnancy was very unexpected. I was shocked. I was scared because I had just given birth 9 months prior to that. So I was very terrified of like how I was going to raise two kids, and what my options were around that, because I wasn't sure that I wanted two kids yet. And like I said, it was very shocking and unexpected. So I was very upset about it in the beginning. And then as the months went by, I fell in love with my pregnancy. And I loved the idea that my baby would have a brother or a sister, and that we'd have another baby. But those months were very hard for me mentally and emotionally. I got really depressed. And then by the time that my daughter was born, my second daughter was born, I had just I had really bad depression. And then I developed anxiety. And so I think I realized that it got out of hand after when she turned around 2 weeks old. So I was 2 weeks postpartum. And that's when it was so bad. I had a postpartum depression, or maybe not. Hold on. What would you call it? It was like, is there even a word for like pregnancy depression or pregnancy anxiety? I just know that like when my daughter was 2 weeks old and I was 2 weeks postpartum is like when it hit its peak, and then it stayed at its peak for a good 8 months. I started seeing the therapist here through Breath of My Heart, and it helped me a lot. So my therapist and my home visitor were the ones that helped me identify that I really needed to just go and get help. I would say that therapy and workshops and my coworkers are really what helped me to realize that I could turn everything around, because that situation, it really brought me down. I felt like I was less than worthy to be here or be alive. And so like through all that help and everything and the talks that I had with my friends and my closest, the people closest to me, I felt like I could do it. And so when I finally, I had that push and that help and support to get out of my living situation, to talk about the things that were stressing me out, to talk about the things that had happened, the events that led me to all of that anxiety and depression. I feel like all of the things and people that supported me is the reason that I am here today, for sure. It feels like there's a lot of pressure for perfection. So there's a lot of pressure for you to already know what's going on with parenting and with your baby, for you to already know the milestones. When most of the time, like, everybody's like learning every day, and so are we. And it's nice to come across people who give you guidance and advice instead of judgment. Just that one of my biggest fears in raising 2 kids now that I'm on my own is that in itself is raising 2 kids, because it's a lot for one person. And then it's just a lot like having to take care of like all the other stuff. Like I think I take living with my mom for granted right now. I'm very appreciative of it, but I'm definitely in for a rude awakening once I move out, because it'll just be me on my own with 2 kids, my job, and then taking care of everything by myself. Which is not very different from like my living situation, what it used to be when I wasn't living with my mom, but it's different when you know that you are the only one that can pull you and your kids ahead. Dating. I feel like I'm always the friend that encourages people to just do what you want. Like, date, don't date, have fun while you're young, whatever that means for you. Like, you can stay home, go on a date, like talk to people. But for me personally, I feel like I've recently come to find that I'm very scared to be alone. And the ways that I show, or the ways that I try to heal that or try to fill that, is by needing constant reassurance from a partner or like a romantic interest. And it's not always like that. So like for me personally, like I'm learning to just take time for myself, because I've also discovered that it's just really hard to date when you're young. It's nice and it's fun, but me personally, I've found that it's very hard on both ends of just finding somebody that you can trust and connect with and be cool with. And then it's also hard because like I have this, not insecurity, but I'm not insecure about my kids at all. But the way that the dating scene is set up is like, you have 2 kids, you're like the last option that people want to date because you have kids, you come with kids. Yeah. In the process of parenting as a young person, I found out that my patience is not as well as I thought it was. So that's something that I've worked on. I've found that I get along with my kids extremely well. Like we could just be sitting there and talking about just what's normal to them, which is like applesauce, It doesn't feel like I'm parenting. It doesn't feel like I'm, you're like, I was raised to think that like parents were this authority. You just have to listen to what they say. You have to do what they say all the time. And with my kids, I feel like more of like the friendship being there. Like we have a relationship, like we have just really good relationships. And I don't feel like they're just there for me to raise and make sure that they're, I don't know, let me rephrase that. I don't feel like I'm in charge of them or supposed to be like in authority over them or whatever. I feel like I'm raising people who I want to get along with, who I want other people to get along with. So I'm. How do I describe that? Like, they're just awesome. I don't know. My kids are awesome, and I love hanging out with them. I love talking to them. So a lot of my self-care routine is really just basic. I drive around, I listen to music, I talk to my cousins and my family most of the time. That's who I hang out with. Because at the stage that I'm at right now in my life is like when I get free time and I get those days for self-care, I'm still trying to figure out who I am. And I'm still learning what I like and what I like doing. What was the word that I just used? Like, me, myself, is still developing. I'm still learning who I am. I'm still learning what I enjoy doing on my free time, when I get free time. And I'm one of those people, I'm just so huge on, like, encouraging my other friends to just be yourself still, like, keep the identity of a parent, but also, like, who are you when you're not a parent? Who are you outside of that? And I'm still figuring that out.
Some other personal goals are also just to do some like self-searching, figure out more about myself and not be so dependent of other people. Just really find independence and do things for myself and for my kids. And what led me there is just the motivation that I have to like move ahead in life with my kids and like move forward. And then I just really want to see them happy. I want to do a bunch of stuff with them. I want to show them the world. I want to travel with them. And I want them to just remember having fun and not everything having to be so serious all the time. I don't know if that counts for like personal goals. I also want to have like a really good career. And I want to encourage my kids to do whatever they want, whether they want to be like dentists or nurses or midwives also, whatever they want. I just want to motivate them to do what makes them happy in their lives.